So you and I are probably exactly the same. We love riding our bikes, but we like riding our bikes outside. We don't really thoroughly enjoy working on a trainer or rollers. But when the weather starts to suck, we really don't get a choice. We either do nothing or we ride our bikes indoors. So this video is about rollers. The first thing I'm gonna do is tell you exactly what rollers I bought and why I bought them. Number two, I'm gonna tell you how to set up the rollers, because you can't just take your bicycle and put it on my rollers because the geometry of the bikes may be different. Number three, I'm gonna tell you how to get on the rollers and how to get off, because there's kind of a trick to it. Number four, and this is very important, is how not to fall. Number five is I'm gonna tell you the benefits of rollers and why maybe you want to get some, and what the differences are between that and a trainer, which leads us to number six, which is the limitations of rollers, and this is important, so you'll definitely want to watch that. And then the seventh and last part of the video is just stupid stuff that makes it fun. So it's a beautiful day today, so let's wait until California rains, and then I'll get on my rollers and I'll show you exactly all these details. That was fake rain. We don't ever get rain like that here. So these are my rollers. I bought these about 20 years ago, and literally they're still functional. I have purchased another big O-ring probably about 8 years ago, and after 12 years it finally snapped, and that's how durable these things are. Once you buy them, they're basically gonna last you forever. This brand here is the Travel Track Alloy. There are different types of rollers. When I bought these 20 years ago, there was basically just rollers. That was it. You didn't really have that much choice. But now there's different ones. These rollers are circular throughout. Some of them have angles where they have divots where it'll actually keep you kind of in the center. When you're riding rollers, you'll have a tendency to kind of drift off to one side. But if you have those angled ones, then they'll kind of keep you in the center. In addition to that, some rollers that I've seen have little roller blade wheels on the side here and on the front, and that prevents you from your wheel kind of going off in theory. However, it acts like just more of a block, and I'll show you later in the video why you kind of don't need those, but they are kind of a nice little safety feature. In addition to that, they also now have things where it'll attach to this drum right here on the back to add resistance, as well as, I believe in the front, it has something where it'll produce a fan for you. So there's lots of other features besides this one. This is the cheapest set of rollers that you could probably purchase. I got these for, I think, $100. You'll find that when you shop for rollers that they range anywhere from, you know, a couple $100 to $1,000. In my humble opinion, I can't see why I would want to spend $1,000 on a set of rollers. I would rather keep that kind of money for bike parts and stuff that I would use outside.
And quite frankly, it's just hard enough to hide the money from my wife so I could buy the stuff that I really want, let alone buy something that I'm just gonna ride indoors.
Lastly, there are some sets of rollers that allow some give from front to back, and those are actually kind of cool. I personally don't think it would be worth it for me, but if you've ever tried those, let me know how they feel for you. Now, just as a side note, the difference between rollers and a trainer, this is my old trainer, this is a Cyclops, and these things really don't exist anymore for the most part. They're hooked up to your phone, they're hooked up to a computer so that you can do Zwift and stuff like that, but this is a trainer, and how this works is you just hook your back tire up to here, and this thing, this wind thing right here allows you to have resistance. So if you want to use a trainer, the best reason you would get a trainer is because it adds resistance. You could do really hard efforts with it. Whereas with rollers, you're working on other skills, which we're going to discuss later in the video. Now, how do you set these things up? They're very, very simple. Basically, they fold like this. You want to put the O-ring in the groove. It just goes down, and basically you're set up. Now, there are some specifics, and that is how far away the front is going to be compared to the back. And that's based on what's called the wheelbase of your bicycle. Now, some bicycles have a long wheelbase and some have a shorter wheelbase. It depends on the specs of your bike. And the best thing to do would be to go to the website that has all the geometry of your bicycle and look at the wheelbase. And the wheelbase is essentially a measurement from the axle of one bicycle tire to the axle of the other. Now, in my case, with the bicycle that I use, it's about 1,000 millimeters. And on the side here, it has the actual millimeters. What happens is there is not one that has exactly 1,000 millimeters. There's 995 and 110. And I'll explain why I put it at 110. But you'll set the distance for the rollers to match your bicycle. Or quite frankly, you could just measure these things. So what you would do is you would start here at this axle, right in the center, and then measure all the way. You just go to there, and sure enough, it's about 1,000 millimeters. That's another way that you could do it.
Now, if the axle is slightly behind the center of the drum, then that pressure is going to keep the bike on the rollers. If the axle is too far forward, if you make any jumps or anything, the tire is going to more easily go over the edge of the drum.
So you want to set this drum right here exactly at the top where the front axle is, or you'll want the drum here a little bit forward compared to the axle. If this drum is too far that way, like if I had it at 995 or 980, then that's not going to be good. Your bicycle's going to have a tendency to want to go off the rollers that way. All it takes is one mistake like that and you basically learn quite a bit about physics. Now, the ideal, best place to set up the rollers the first time you learn how to do them is between a doorway or a hallway. And that way there's a wall on each side of you so that when you actually try to do this, because there's a learning curve, you're going to want to put your hands out or put your shoulders out, or you're going to basically fall off to the side. So you may as well have a wall to protect you. So many people will put this in their house to first learn how to ride the rollers. But after a while, once you get good at it, you really will only need one wall or hardly at all. And we're going to get you to be able to do that. But what I do in my garage is I'll put it between my weight bench and the car. So on both sides, I have something to protect myself in case I accidentally lose control or lose concentration. And also, if you should have your bicycle fall off the edge of the rollers, I'm going to show you exactly what to do later on to protect yourself. So even if you don't have a wall, you're going to be fine. When you first start to do this, you think to yourself, there's no way, it's impossible. But as time goes on, as you get more experiences, trust me, you'll be pretty good at it. So now I'm going to talk about how to get on the rollers and off the rollers and to do it safely. The most important thing when you first do this, if you've never done rollers before, put on regular shoes. You'll probably do this for maybe 5-10 minutes and you'll figure out how to do it on your regular shoes, but it's better to do it with regular shoes, and I'll show you why. So the first thing is, if you're first starting out, what you'll do is you're going to be in between a doorway or have walls so that you can touch something, but I'm just going to use my weight bench here. You'll take the first pedal and put it way up high, because what you're going to do is you're going to push really hard to get the wheels rolling. And what I'm going to do is you're going to hold on to something or hold on to the wall. The first step is to just pedal hard and then get this foot on as quickly as you can. You'll just pedal and then just start. Now you're holding on to the wall, and then once you feel confident, then you can kind of let go of the wall and you can just hold on to the handlebars. The most important part of rollers, and this goes throughout everything, is how fast the wheels are spinning. The faster the wheels are spinning, the easier it is to balance. It's just like riding out on the road. If you're going real slow, it's hard to balance. But if you're going really fast, it's a lot easier. So once you've got this going, if you want to get off, what you're going to do is you're going to get prepared, and you want to get the wheels going pretty fast. You just speed up a little bit and then hold on to the wall, or let one foot go down and put it on the ground or the rollers. So you're going to practice this a couple times with your regular shoes. You'll hold on to the wall, press down, get started, let go of the wall, get up to speed, and then try to figure out how to stop by holding on to the wall or holding on to something, or just putting one foot down. So sometimes people will try to hold on to something and then put both feet on the pedals and then start pedaling. That's not advised, because that's no different than, let's say you're at a stoplight. You wouldn't put your feet on the pedals and then try to start pedaling. So start with just one pedal. That's the easiest way to do it. Now, once you feel comfortable stopping and starting with your regular shoes, then you're going to put on your cleats. All right, so now you have your cycling cleats on. Now it's going to get a little bit interesting. So same thing. What you'll do is clip in to one shoe first. Then you're going to bring it up to the top. Again, hold on to a wall and just start going. Now, this time you have to clip in really quickly, but you don't have to clip in on the first pedal stroke. You just have to get the wheels going. Once the wheels are going, it's a lot easier to balance, and then you can kind of clip in later. So I'm going to show you here. We're going to start, and okay, well, I just clipped in. That didn't work. I'm a genius, but I clipped out and put my foot down, hold on to the wall. I'm going to try to do it where I don't clip in the first time. So let's try. Okay, so that was good. So right now I'm not clipped in. I'm going to get up to speed, and now I'm going to try to find my pedal, and now I just clipped in. Okay? You want to practice this and practice unclipping on both sides. So you clip out, hold on to the wall. Let's do this. There we go. And I will clip out with my right leg and put it down. So once you start getting more confidence with that, then what you can do, I'm a righty.
Not a lefty?
I can't go left, gotta go right.
Never knew that about you.
Now you're gonna always.
6 years of marriage and I didn't know.
You didn't know I always go? Well, anyway. So then as you get practice at this, you can learn to do it without holding on to the wall. It's not necessary, but if you're in a place where you don't have anything to hold on to, it's a good skill to have. And what you'll do is just kind of get the wheels up to speed. So the faster you can get it going like that, the easier it will be to start. So here we go, let's try it. See right there, I haven't clipped in yet. I'm gonna get it up to speed so it's easier to balance. And there we are, clipped in. That's how it's done. Now, how do you get off the rollers once you're going and you're clipped in? This requires a little bit of skill. What you need to do is unclip at least one foot and be ready to place it down. The slower the wheels are going, the slower you're pedaling, the harder it is to do. So what you do when you want to get off the rollers is you can just speed up a little bit. That way it's easier to balance, and then unclip and just place one foot down. It's that simple.
Oh yeah, that's really simple.
It is. Once you've crashed numerous times to learn how to do it. All right, so now we're going to discuss situations where you could potentially fall. This is where it's good for the first while that you do it in between two structures, like a hallway or a door frame. Here's some things that are common reasons why people fall. They will start out going, and then when they decide to stop, they end up not clipping out soon enough. So the trick to not falling is to make sure your wheels are going at a good clip and you're pedaling, and you want to learn how to clip out with both sides. So here I will clip out with the right and just put my foot down. These rollers are tall, so what happens is if I go down, it's a little bit hard to get down. These are tall up in the air. A lot of rollers are not this tall. This is an older product, but you could put something down so that you could put your foot down. That'll help you when you need to get off. Sometimes if you lean the bike too much, the tires will slide. Now, a lot of different rollers have, like I mentioned in the beginning, they have that angle that'll keep it in the center, so this is less of a problem. But for this type of roller, what happens is if you lean too much, the tires will slide off to the side. So whenever you are trying to get off, don't lean the bike, just put your foot down. There are 5 great benefits of riding the rollers. Number 1 is the balance, learning how to balance on your bicycle. It's almost like you're learning how to balance on a tightrope. When you have better balance on the rollers, you will absolutely be safer out on the road. Number 2 is the pedal stroke, and you've probably seen people riding where it just looks like they're choppy. It's like they're punching the pedals. And when you go on the rollers, in order to stay upright, you have to learn how to just do this circular motion where your pedal stroke just becomes so fluid. You'll become smooth and fluid-like, just like Bruce Lee said, be like water. You flow easily. Well, I don't know. The third benefit is you'll learn to spin at a very high cadence without bouncing on the saddle. That's one of the workouts that I really love to do, is I'll do intervals where I'll do 1 minute on, 1 minute off, 1 minute on, 1 minute off. I will try to spin as fast as I possibly can, get it as high RPMs as possible. Yet at the same time with that high RPM, you're learning to stabilize your lower back and your pelvis and relax your arms, and it's really a good skill to have. The fourth benefit of riding rollers is that it's just simply a lot more fun than locking your bike into a position where the bicycle doesn't move at all. You always have to stay focused, and that is part of the excitement of riding the rollers. The fifth and final benefit of riding the rollers compared to, for example, a trainer, is that it just feels more natural. It feels like you're riding a bicycle rather than riding a stationary bike. Learning how to be stable on the bike while pedaling really fast is really something that translates out into the road, and you could definitely feel it. Now, there are some limitations of rollers, and particularly with mine, because I don't have that new setup where you can actually add resistance. My understanding is that there are some extra O-rings that you can add to accessories to add up to 400 watts of resistance. Rollers have come a long way, but you do have to spend extra for those accessories. So I always think of rollers as really good for high RPM riding, endurance riding, recovery riding, zone 2 riding, but trainers are more beneficial for developing power. So if what you're looking for is to develop high power, high watts, and a great workout that's really exhausting, then rollers are probably not going to fit what you're looking for. The other limitation is actually a benefit of rollers in that you have to learn how to balance. You're developing coordination and balance and awareness on the bicycle. A trainer doesn't do that. With a trainer, you could just focus on your workout and not have to worry about falling over. Whereas with the rollers, you always do have to stay concentrated and make sure and stay focused so that you don't fall. So as a side note with rollers, sometimes I will use rollers as a recovery, like on a Monday or something like that. I'll just get in the garage and just spin for 20 minutes. And a lot of times I'll have my phone and I'll be just riding one-handed and watching like a comedy. And I remember one time I was listening to some comedy from Brian Regan, of all people, and it just made me crack up so much. I was losing concentration and I had to actually stop riding the rollers because I was laughing so hard. So once you've been doing this for a decent amount of time and you feel more comfortable, there are certain things that it's just kind of stupid stuff that you probably should know how to do to make it just easier for you. The first is many people will just grip the bars really tightly and never move their hand position because naturally you're afraid of falling. But as you get more comfortable, try to loosen up your arms. Try to make your arms nice and relaxed. And that's kind of something that is a skill that takes a little time, but once you get it, it makes it a lot easier. Learn how to change hand positions real easy, like that, so you can start at the hoods, and then you can go down to the drops. And the way to learn to do this is don't change your hands position both at the same time. So if I'm on the drops right now, and I wanna go to the top, then I'll do one hand, and then the other. For fun, you can start to learn how to get a water bottle, how to kind of stand up. And you could see that it doesn't look very pretty, but sometimes you just need to adjust your position so that you're just more comfortable. And lastly, as you get better at it, let go. And as long as you're pedaling, and as long as the bike is going a certain speed, it looks impressive, but it's quite easy to do once you get better at it. The last thing is there's a tendency to just stare at the front wheel to try to make sure that your wheel is in the center of the rollers, but that gets very boring. So the best thing to do is to look straight ahead, about 6 feet in front of you, as if you were riding just a normal group. Look straight ahead, and that way you get used to riding in this position and you can gain the feel for the rollers. So if you thought this video was interesting or it helped you, let me know down in the comments section. If there's anything that I missed, I tried to make this as complete as possible. Let me know anything I missed down below, because maybe someone will read that comment and benefit from it.
Today's video sponsor is Lactigo. Lactigo is an effective, fast-acting topical gel with menthol and carnosine that helps people maximize their athletic performance and muscle recovery. It helps you recover faster during and after athletic activity. One Lactigo bottle covers around 10 full body applications. Apply Lactigo directly to the desired muscles 45 minutes before your activity or workout or competition. And then apply another round of Lactigo after your activity to further aid in muscle recovery. There will be a link down in the description if you want to look at this stuff, check it out, read the research, see what you think.